And we are back. Our next guest is someone who's not only excelled in the world of sports, he's also becoming a driving force for positive change in his community. He founded the Minority Millennials, which is an organization dedicated to empowering young people of color by providing access to jobs, wealth building opportunities, and civic engagement. Here now joining us is the founding partner and vice president of community engagement of Minority Millennials, Andrew Ayodeji, right?
Ayodeji. Ayodeji.
Ayodeji. Andrew, thank you so much for being with us.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I want to get an opportunity to just share with you because we talk about basketball in a minute, but really your passion is community and empowering millennials. And why do you feel like millennials are the go-to demographic?
Because I feel like millennials is the bridge right now between like the Gen Zs and the baby boomers. So I just think it's really, essential for the millennials to kind of stand. We here in abundance. We really like standing with the most numbers right now. We kind of like affected the most. Like we kind of seen kind of both generations, so we could kind of, give a I feel like the most balanced point of view.
And when we talk about this balanced point of view, I want to talk about issues because you're presenting issues from your point of view, and really you're trying to write that balance out because you feel as though that there's several areas where people really need to be paying attention to really bring balance. And so, what are some of those areas that you're working with millennials to really raise your voice and address?
More so, I try to use like myself as like the model, man. We focus on things like housing. I'm 35 years old. The housing crisis is crazy out here. It's like $2,800 for a one-bedroom apartment. So I kind of try to frontline that. I'm vulnerable enough to put my struggles on the forefront just to show people like I'm someone that runs a few businesses, but it's still hard for me. Really bridging the gap with policy and culture, letting people in my community know the significance of politics, of how important that is to have a relationship with the local politicians in your neighborhood. Even furthermore, getting involved with politics, actually getting your name on a ballot and running, and really understanding what it is, really understanding the power of the vote. We hear that a lot of the times, get out and vote, but nobody really explains to us, how to exercise our rights civically. So I just think that's important. It's very important to educate our community and young people on that, so we could take a different approach moving forward.
And when we talk about the community, I want to give our viewers some context here. You're out in Amityville and
Yep.
Amityville, New York. And so, for people who aren't so familiar, tell us about how you view, particularly the climate, the culture right now in Amityville.
I'm in Amityville, Long Island, New York, North Amityville to be exact. It's a burgeoning demographic right now. It's a lot of entrepreneurs trying to shake up the scene. It's a lot of people really getting engaged on the political side right now. I see from a positive point of view. And I don't want to tap myself on the back of my organization, but we've really been doing it really been our mission to really hit the grassroots of people that usually don't get this message. So the climate out there is still a lot of people uninformed, but it's still people eager to learn. It's a large demographic of people that's eager to learn.
And for yourself, obviously, you've got a basketball league that's actually out there. And the aim
Yeah.
is to really deal with gun violence. Talk to me about it.
I founded the basketball league in 2017. That's the Boulder Park Summer League, and that was just really. I didn't even know it was really the decreased violence. I was a basketball guy. I went to college and played basketball. I played basketball in high school, so it was just something for really like for us to do in the community and really engage on a basketball tip. And once I began that, I seen the impact that I was having more so on a cultural and a community level. Then we took it a step further and tapped in with like the police because the precinct seen that it was like a drop in crime during the time that we was doing our tournament. So we kind of gauged that and really based our proof of progress on that, tracking that through the summer months. And we just stayed engaged with the student athletes. From the summer league, we created a student athlete incubator called the MAC Academy. That's an acronym for making athletes career knowledgeable. So it's like a one-stop shop where kids could come get the athletic training, but also come get civic engagement from, like my civic association, Minority Millennials. They'll get financial literacy help. They'll get mental health evaluations. They'll get academic help with hands-on tutors. They'll know exactly the core credits that they need to qualify to receive an NCAA scholarship. So just really being a resource and providing information to the young student athletes, and kind of being that roadmap for them to kind of pivot through these times.
And for yourself, obviously, you make community development a passion. In addition
Hmm.
to the work that you're doing, basketball league. Congratulations! I
Yeah.
understand you got a location coming in the clothing line.
Oh yeah, we had a clothing line. We've been doing the clothes for about like 5 years now. We opened up our flagship clothing store back in 2019, like right after the pandemic started. That worked out pretty well. We got the Mac clothing line. We've been pushing that for some time now. We got sweatsuits, shorts, t-shirts. It's a real big thing here. Like everybody in Long Island is kind of tapped into it. So it's been pretty good. We've been blessed to get some traction.
So, for yourself, obviously looking at the lay of the land right there in Amityville, trying to make things better, uh, the message. Sometimes the worry is the message really resonating amongst the community? Am I getting through? From your perspective, how do you feel you're making? Are you getting through?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely getting through. Also, I'm seeing like when you test the status quo, the people that try to like put the blocks there in the community. So, me personally, I feel like I got tough skin, and I seen the roadblocks that was like placed in my way. That's why I feel like I was like chosen. I feel like God really put me in this position to, break through and really change the narrative for young black men and just young people in my community. Anyway, um, I know a lot of other people would give up with the roadblocks that was placed in my way, just starting the summer league, of as far as getting permits, as far as dealing with the parks people with the lights and different things like that. It really, really took a lot of patience and perseverance. So um, I'm just blessed to be in this position. And like I said, I'm like leading the forefront. I'm taking those hits of all my stuff, like being being frontline, and letting these guys see the losses that I'm taking, letting these guys see the turmoil and the triumphs that I got to go through to get these things done, so they see that it's possible and they can kind of walk in that light gracefully without having to go through like the hardships that I went through.
Talk about hardships. The community's definitely had its own share of hardships. You talk about paying rent, $2,800 a month. That's no easy. That's no easy feat at all. And when we
For a
look
studio, for
for
a
a
studio
studio,
apartment. Yeah. It's rough. It's rough.
I can't even get there. Um, Talk to me about minority populations. Obviously, right there in the neighborhood, underfunded. I mean,
Absolutely.
what are you seeing?
It's absolutely underfunded, but that's where we get civically engaged at, and we could kind of like determine the outcome of our communities. It's youth centers that's vacant in our communities. The communities that need them the most is youth centers that's vacant. It's buildings and a lot of economic development happening right in front of our faces, and we really have no clue of what's going on. So it's just really like I said, it's time for the community to be aware. It's time for them to be informed, and it's going to take more people like myself that's actually coming from the grassroots, that's actually coming from these neighborhoods, to come back with the information and make our community privy so we know exactly what's going on.
So when we talk about young people, millennials, we know that right now that feel like sometimes they're the overlooked. We talk about communities of color in the inner cities. You'll hear a majority of people talk about being overlooked. What do we do to get to a place where not only millennials, but those who are in communities of color can really turn the narrative because no lie, there is being overlooked, but not just being overlooked, but really underserved.
Underlooked and underserved is like an understatement, man. And I really feel like it starts with us. If you pay attention to a lot of these low income communities, these struggling communities, it's people that are in place in the community that's usually from the community. And unfortunately, a lot of those times they don't really have our best interests at heart as a community as whole. It's usually something that they're benefiting from selfishly. So it's just really time for the communities to wake up, man. We doing this to ourselves. The community has to wake up. The community has to have community pride. The community got to want to know who's in these positions that's making these things happen in our neighborhood. We even got to know who's there. It's like You could go around these neighborhoods and ask, who's your local councilman, who's your local town supervisor, and we don't really know. So that's why our job is to come and kind of educate the people and inform them with these tools, so we could kind of go to battle at that point. Once they inform with the tools and we could go to battle, they understand what the school board election does, understand that these local community institutions can provide jobs for the community. I think it'll be more of a understanding wholly, but we don't really understand. We never really tapped in civically, so I think that's why we stagnated as a whole in these communities.
Can you tell me a little bit about when we talk about community? Where does the gap? Where's that gap that you see that needs to be filled? Is it more in the area of jobs? Is it more in the area of the economy? Is it more in the area of gun violence? What's the major gap that needs to be filled right now in Amityville?
Just like the political connection. I feel like it's not really so much of a bridge to the community that really needs the help. I feel like we try to ignore the fact that our community has issues and try to focus on the good. I really feel like, again, like I said, the community really has to like check themselves. They really have to like um, understand like we're stagnated right now. Understand that it's a lot of like room on the table for us, a lot of room on the table because our vote counts. It's like we're unaccounted for. They're not even taking us into consideration because we don't come out to vote. We don't really get involved in our community to even know what's going on. So, like I said, it starts with us, man. It starts with us.
For businesses that are out there right now and they're trying to really look at improving the community, you got some real traction here. You got an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people, and you've done that. But if I'm a business out there in Amityville, how can I play a part in helping to change the narrative and really improve and make some community revitalization here?
Um, it's a saying that I run with: community pride starts with us, man. Just donating to local causes, man. Getting in contact with local IDAs to provide different funding and grant opportunities, so business could have the flexibility to tap in and give back to the community. Because times is really hard right now. Times is hard, man. A lot of businesses are shutting down. You know, pre going into what we going into 2024. So it's rough, man. I just think having a common goal that they can identify with to see what they're investing into. And that's a big thing that we do at Boulder Mac Park. Like they see that 8 weeks over the summertime. They see when we have those camps out there and clinics and skills and drills things for the kids. So it's really visible, man. And really being someone that you could kind of honor your word a little bit too, like because there's a lot of trust issues in our community, as we know. So when you say that you're doing something, that's just what it got to be. They can expect Boulder Mac Park every year, just like they can expect Christmas.
And so when we talk about diversity and inclusion, how do you approach that?
Everybody got to kind of have an open mind to that, man, because this times is just changing and stuff, and you can kind of see that with Boulder Mac Park. I know you guys out there in the city, we out here on Long Island, but it's like a melting pot. You'll see just a mixture of everything, kind of, and everything in there kind of operating, all drawn to the game of basketball. At the same time, we got culturally things going on in there, different foods, different vendors coming into play. So it's just a different mixture of people. It's just a different mixture of people. And I don't think diversity and inclusion is gonna really be so much of a problem with the Gen Z generation and younger, because they're already like accustomed just to operating around different races, operating around different genders or preferred sexualities, so on and so forth.
So for yourself, obviously, you've done a lot in the community and really tried to rally the troops around you. What advice do you give to people who are in the community in terms of becoming active and becoming woke? Because there's so much that's on the table that can really transcend the neighborhood, but there is a need for some more woke people in order for this to take place.
My thing is, together we stand, divided we fall, man. The more we come together, the more it could be. Like it's enough. It's enough Indians, man. We need more troops, man. We need people that's really gonna pound the pavement, not really trying to come in and just automatically jump into a leadership position, and that be the problem with a lot of the times. It be a lot of backbiting, we cutting each other short. So just really together, just standing tall. The more the merrier. I feel like.
The more the merrier. For people who want to get in touch with you, what do they do?
They could follow me on my Instagram at Andrew Ayodeji. You could follow us at my Instagram for Minority Millennials on there, Minority Millennials Inc. You could follow me on Facebook, Andrew Ayodeji. You could catch us on Facebook as well, Minority Millennials Inc. You could follow the basketball Boulder Mac Park on Instagram. You could check out the website www.bouldermacbasketball.com. And we got a lot of things coming. We got a banquet coming up this year. The Mac is Back banquet. We're gonna be honoring some community people there. We're gonna have some good keynote speakers. We're gonna give a few scholarships away. We got our We Are the Future summit coming May 31st. That's our second annual. We did that last year at Hofstra University where we had over 1,500 kids. We tapped into some schools out there in the city. We had Eagle Academy come. We had Earn Your Leisure come and speak about financial literacy. We're doing that this year again at Nassau Coliseum. So we're gonna expect a bigger turnout than that. We gearing up for year 8 of Boulder Mac Park. That's gonna be one of the biggest things in New York. We got a saying, they say Brooklyn got Gersh, Queens got Lincoln, Uptown got Dykeman, Harlem got Rucker, but Long Island got the Mac. So just stay on the lookout for that. It's gonna be a real big summer. We looking forward to that. Anything else with Minority Millennials, anybody want to get civically engaged, get in touch with the movement, like I said, you can tap us in on Instagram, Minority Millennials Inc.
What advice do you give young people right now about being woke and involved? Obviously, you got a good handle on it. I mean, 35, looking at excuse multiple business ventures, but not only business ventures, but there are also a lot of community-based and community-grounded things. What message do you have for young people that you share about your journey and about their level of required involvement?
What I can share on my journey is just really stand on your truths, man, and be you. I think that's why I'm like really being able to maneuver because I'm just me. I try to be transparent, especially in these situations where we're speaking about community, because in the Black community, with so many people that came before me that tricked us, that promised our community these things, that frontlined and just went on for like personal selfish hidden agendas. So it's just really being transparent with your community, transparent with your constituents, and really standing on your truth, man. I feel like a lot of the young people could relate because, like I said, the struggles that I go through is the same struggles that you going through. You know, the same fights that you was fighting for to get a job. I had to do the same thing. The same struggles that you went through to start your business, I had to go through the same thing. The same financial hits that you had to go through, I went through the same thing and still going through that. So I just try to be a walking testimony in that and really frontline just to show the people like, yo, this is the way. Especially our young Black men, man. A lot of our young Black men get caught up so much in the finer things in life and sometimes cut themselves short trying to achieve those. And I try to tell them just to sacrifice, really sacrifice the time. You sacrifice your time, put a business plan together. It might not work over time. It might not work in 5 years. It might not work in 10 years, but that 11th year, it might work. And you got the freedom of kind of living the way that you want to live. You can take care of your family. You don't got to look over your shoulder. You don't got to worry about going to jail. So that's just the message, man. Like write it down and follow it through.
And what about life after basketball? Because obviously you've turned it and positioned yourself in such a way that you've created life outside of basketball. I know what it's like playing the game and then having to give it up. After you give up the game, it's like a lot of questions as to where do I go from here. But you've been able to
Mm-hmm.
transcend. Let's talk about life after basketball. What do you tell somebody about that?
Yo, that's a great question. I'm really glad that you answered. You asked me that because I see a lot of basketball players just lost, man, and I can relate to that. But I was kind of able to like kind of pivot early. I was able to pivot early. I feel like basketball players and student athletes in general, preferably more basketball players, are kind of sheltered from the community, from their parents. You going to school on a scholarship, you eating on a meal plan. You never really got to worry about kind of managing money. Your peoples are sending you money when you need it. Then when you kind of get home into the real world, you kind of like walking into, whoa, I wasn't really expecting this. Whoa, I gotta pay for my food now. Like I gotta like actually save up to get a car. Like I actually gotta pay rent. I actually gotta like I just can't spend my money on what I want to spend my money on. So just really teaching them how to pivot. That's a big thing with the Mac Academy. Like I said, that's an acronym for making athletes career knowledgeable. The main point that I tell the kids is you live a lot longer than you play basketball. This basketball is going to stop bouncing. So you got to be able to continue to keep it rolling after this basketball thing is over. It's a lot of jobs around basketball that doesn't necessarily involve playing. We have a partnership with the NBA G League team, Long Island Nets. They right out here. They operate out of Nassau Coliseum. And we tap in with them regularly just to bring kids, just to see the business side, just to see the operation. My guy, Wade Richards, he's from the community here, and he has a position over there with the Long Island Nets. He opens the doors to us. So it's just a lot of positions that you could be outside of an actual physical basketball player. You could be a coach, you could be a GM, you could be a camera guy, you could be a pregame guy that's getting a pregame thing set up. And these is all careers. So we try to really bring the student athletes in to let them see that, to where it's like you could look forward to something like after basketball and have a very, very lucrative career.
Yeah, there's life afterwards, and certainly we want people to take advantage of the fact that you play the game, get the most out of it, but then after the game is over, get what is also there for you as well, which is, a lot of opportunity. And for yourself, you've been a person that's been able to really maximize that opportunity. So thank you so much for being with us. And, certainly, Andrew, we want to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you again. Website is minoritymillennials.org. And then, of course, social media, Minority Millennials, and Instagram, Bolden Mac Park. And Andrew, thanks
Yes,
again
sir.
for being with us, my brother.
Nah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man. Great show. You have a blessed one.
All righty. Thank you, brother.